What's going on today, people? I'm gonna be showing y'all how to change the oil on a Jeep Grand Cherokee. I decided to do this video because the other day I took this vehicle to Walmart to get an oil change, figuring it was just gonna be quick and easy. And the mechanic actually told me that he could not do the oil change simply because of where the oil filter was located. So I popped the hood, seeing what he was talking about, and said, hey, this is a fairly easy job. So thank you, Walmart. Y'all saved me some money. Now I'm about to show y'all how y'all can save yourself some money. Stay tuned. Project, you're gonna need an oil pan, 0W20 oil, full synthetic, recommended. You also need a oil filter, part number MO349, a funnel, a 5/16 socket, half-inch socket, and a 10mm socket. Also, you'll need a socket wrench for those sockets. All right, guys, first thing you want to do is locate the housing. This right here, you pop it off. 10mm socket. Now what you want to do is pull this housing off. You may have to give it a little force, but it'll pop right off. Nothing to it. Now that the engine housing is removed, it's easier to get to the oil filter housing where you could put your oil filter in. Also, some people will take off the cap to give them more space. Also, on that cap, it shows you what type of oil you need if you ever should forget. I'm going to put mine back on because it doesn't bother me. I have more than enough space to operate. Now you will need your socket wrench and a 5/16 socket to remove that housing. When you're removing this housing, be careful not to be rough with it, because you could easily strip the housing, and you'll probably need to end up getting another one, which they are very hard to get a hold of, so just keep that in mind. It shouldn't take no more than 1 to 5 minutes to remove the housing. Again, I want to reiterate to be careful while doing this. Take your time and do not strip the housing. I repeat, do not strip the housing. Now that the socket wrench has done the majority of the work, you can unloosen it by hand where you can remove the oil filter. Be sure to have something in place to where you could put that oil filter in, because it will be a mess if you don't. This is the oil filter. This is my old one. Look how dirty it is. It's time for a new one. Now what you want to do also, you want to have a little bit of force in taking this out. It'll pop right out. Once you get it out, properly dispose of it. Then what you would do, you will get the new one, inspect it, inspect that it is, good to go. Nothing wrong with it. Pop it right in there of the housing. Once you clean off the housing, you want to put the oil filter in the bottom part of the housing where the oil filter sits. This part is very important. You want to hand tighten it first. Once you hand tighten it, then you'll come back with the socket wrench to make sure you get it tightened to proper specifications. Also, this part is important. You want to make sure you don't over tighten it, because like I said before, you can easily strip it or you can damage the oil filter housing. For these particular vehicles are hard to get their hands on, so make sure you don't over tighten so you don't do any damage to the housing. Alright, for this next part, guys, you want to locate the oil pan on the bottom of the vehicle and the oil pan drain plug. Once you locate it, you take your 1/2-inch socket and your socket wrench, and you want to go ahead and loosen that drain plug. Done that, I would highly recommend that you go ahead and get you some latex gloves, or rubber gloves, whatever you want to call them. And you want to unloosen that drain plug by hand, because what's going to happen is the oil is going to start flowing out, and it can get real messy if you don't do it properly. So I highly suggest the rubber gloves. Okay, once all the oil is drained out, what you want to do is you want to take your drain plug and reinsert it. Again, I should stress hand tightening first, simply because you don't want to strip that drain plug. And then once you hand tighten it, you want to take your socket and socket wrench and tighten it down snug as possible. Next, you want to clean off any excess oil from the drain to make sure you don't have any leaks. That's a good way you'll be able to tell. Once you get that done, it's time to insert the oil. What you need is your oil and your funnel. Remove your oil cap if you don't already have it removed. Place your funnel in. Make sure nothing's blocking it or in the way, or you don't have any debris going down into your engine. And begin to pour your oil in. It's okay if you spill some. It's not going to hurt anything. Pour this whole gallon of oil in, because this engine is 5.9 liters, which this whole gallon is what, 5 quarts. Then what you want to do is you want to come back with the other quart of oil. You want to pour all of it in except a quarter of the oil. Leave a quarter of the oil in so you don't overfill the engine. Once that's done, you want to remove the funnel. You want to put the oil cap back on and repeat the process I showed you before about taking off the housing. Make sure it lines up with all 4 corners. Put it on. Snap it back down. Get your 10mm socket. Put your 10mm screw back in. Tighten it down. And now the oil change is complete. Alright, for the next part, what you want to do is you want to reset your oil life. It's very relatively easy. First, you have to go in, you have to power on your vehicle. Once you power it on, you want to go into your settings and you want to go up under the oil life, and it'll give you an option to press and reset the oil life. Next, you want to turn your vehicle off and on. Let it power up. It should start off at 0% and then change to 100%. And there you go, guys, an easy oil change, super easy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Mr. How To.